Hello, my favorite English language learners. It is your favorite English teacher here, Amy Joy, and in today's video, I want to share with you about a current event that you might read about in the news or you might hear people talking about in conversation. And as I tell you this story, I will also highlight some specific vocabulary words that might not be familiar to you so that you can understand and talk about this topic a little bit better. So actually, unfortunately, this current event is very sad. It is very heartbreaking. But basically, a few weeks ago, a woman named Gabby Petito went missing. Originally, she was on a road trip with her fiance named Brian Laundrie, and they were living out of a van and documenting their experience traveling through various national parks, and documenting this and posting on social media, on YouTube and on Instagram, etc. So, on September 1st, Brian Laundrie returned from their trip to Florida, but he was alone. Gabby was not with him. And this was very suspicious. Suspicious is an adjective that means someone's causing you to distrust or doubt them. So his behavior was very suspicious. And 10 days later, Gabby's family reported her missing. To report someone missing means to call the police and let them know that you cannot find that person and they may be in danger. So since Gabby was a social media influencer and documenting her experiences on Instagram and YouTube, once the media heard that she went missing, her story went viral. To go viral means to become popular overnight and receive a lot of media attention. So after about a week of searching, the police found human remains in a national park in Wyoming. And human remains, this is kind of a creepy word, but it means they found a body. So they found a body in this national park and they determined that it was Gabby's body. Now, not only did they find out it was Gabby's body, they found the cause of death was homicide. And homicide is an academic word for murder. So they found Gabby's body and they found that she was murdered. Now, ever since the media started covering this story, many witnesses and people have come forward with information about the couple. For example, someone saw the couple fighting at a restaurant and Gabby leaving the restaurant crying. Another person saw them kind of hitting each other and fighting over a phone and actually called the police to report a domestic dispute. A domestic dispute is just a fight between a couple. And we actually have video footage of Brian and Gabby's interaction with the police after this phone call. So this story is just very mysterious. We don't know what happened to Gabby, and ever since this came out, Brian Laundrie has been on the run. On the run means that you are running from the police, you are hiding. So there are a lot of interesting parts to this story. Now, I've just briefly given you a summary so that you can become familiar with this story, and I will post further links below so that you can read some details about it and kind of see the timeline of when all these things happened. But there's actually another thing I want to talk about related to Gabby's disappearance, and that is the media coverage and people's response to the media coverage of Gabby's disappearance. So some people are actually quite upset with how the media has been so obsessed and covering her story so much. Now, you might be wondering, well, why would people care? Isn't it good that we are covering the story of a missing woman? And yes, that is good. But historically speaking, the media in the US has done a really bad job of representing white people and people of color equally. And this can be seen in Gabby's case. Gabby's story received so much media attention, but I have some statistics to kind of highlight why people are upset about it. So Gabby went missing in the state of Wyoming, where only 3% of the population is indigenous people. But in Wyoming, 21% of the victims of homicide are indigenous people. And we really do not see that much media coverage of all of these missing people and victims of homicide. So clearly, indigenous people go missing and are murdered at much higher rates than white people. However, it is rare that Indigenous people receive the same amount of media coverage as Gabby Petito, a beautiful white woman. And not only do they receive less media coverage, they also receive worse media coverage. Sometimes Indigenous victims of homicide are portrayed more negatively, whereas Gabby has been portrayed very positively and with a lot of sympathy. So for this reason, some people are upset that Gabby has received so much attention when there's actually a big problem of Indigenous people going missing and being victims of homicide and not receiving the same amount of coverage. So some other vocabulary that you might find useful when talking about this story are media coverage or media attention. That is just how much attention the media is giving a certain story. Indigenous people. This is just another word for Native Americans or people who lived here before colonization. And also representation in the media. This is a common phrase and a common theme that we are discussing more and more these days. And people are becoming more critical of how people of color and how often people of color are represented in the media compared to white people. And in a recent press conference with Gabby's parents, her father actually discusses this topic. He recognizes how much media attention his daughter's disappearance received, and he encourages social media and reporters to give that same attention to all missing people, and you can see him talk about that in this clip.
But social media has been amazing and very influential, and to be honest, it should continue for other people too. This same type of heightened awareness should be continued for everyone. And that goes for you all too.
So if you see this being discussed in the media, you now have a little bit of background about Gabby's story, as well as how people are perceiving the media's response to it. Feel free to click on the links below to get some more information about this story, and let me know in the comments, what do you think about Gabby's disappearance? What do you think about Brian Laundrie running away from the police? And also, what do you think about representation in the media and how we can equally treat victims of homicide? There's so many opinions and so many things to be said about this, so let me know in the comments below. Then I would be really interested to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye!